Lots of big stars gracing the stage here at Radiodays in Vienna, and no more so than Midge, a Scotsman. Midge, your first time at a radio conference?
It's my first time at a radio conference. It's been great.
And you've performed all over the world, so what brought you to this broadcasting conference?
I suspect the fact that it's held in Vienna may have had something to do with it. So they approached me and said, look, Vienna, you've got to perform Vienna here. So I did.
And you did it. Now, you were talking about music on the radio, how it influences and encourages and gives breaks to musicians. Is that not happening anymore?
I think it's happening less. As I said in there earlier, I was educated. My musical education was from the radio. I didn't have any formal training, but I heard lots of stuff, very diverse stuff. So I heard everything from Led Zeppelin to the Small Faces to teeny bubblegum pop. And that was a great thing to have. So I just think that radio now is kind of responsible. Whether they know that they're responsible for the next generation of artists, they are, because that's how you find music. That's how you are educated and find what it is that scratches your itch.
Mm. And the other problem as well is not only are the influences not there because they're not being played, but for young musicians who want to get airtime, it's so controlled now by strict playlists. Do you find from musicians you talk to they're finding it harder to get airtime?
I think it's difficult. I mean, it's always been difficult to get on playlists. Every station has them. You have to put your music forward and hope that someone sees something in it.
Yeah.
But there are so many factions involved in it now. It's not just about the quality of the music. It's now about what your social media is like. What's the spend behind the album or the single? What's the advertising campaign? All of those things are all taken into consideration now. If you're a new young artist, you have none of that. Maybe you can build up a bit of a social media thing, but there is no big spend. There is no big advertising thing. You need that helping hand. Otherwise, you're making music for yourself.
But even in your day, was it Radio Caroline and the Pirates where DJs could play whatever the hell they wanted?
Well, they did even when Radio 1 started. I mean, it was very pop-oriented, but they would have like the John Peel show, and that was where I heard Free or, Led Zeppelin and, all of that. That's where I heard dub. That's where I heard reggae. That's where I heard punk for the first time. All of that stuff all came to me through radio because I didn't have the money to go out and buy the records. You could read about the artists in the music papers, but you couldn't afford to go out and buy the product.
So that sounds good. I'm sure it sounds great too. And just changing gears slightly as well, in terms of your music and people consuming your music, how do you find that's changing? People aren't buying as many CDs anymore. So
it's changed. It changed a lot. I mean, since the advent of the MP3, and being able to file share and free music, it's made a huge dent in the industry. And maybe the industry needed shaking up a little bit, the music industry, but there is no money there now to speculate and invest in new raw talent and let it grow. If you think back to a band like U2, they were on the third or fourth album before they actually started to break it, but the record company stuck with them. That kind of connection isn't there anymore, simply because people take music, just steal it. You wouldn't walk into a shop and just pick a bag up and walk out with it without paying, but you can do it with music, and that's not right.
You don't feel anything about it. Yeah, it's a tough one. I don't know how we'd solve it, but
no.
Life is good. Ultravox, amazing. Thin Lizzy, of course, Irish band.
Yeah, listen, I've been there. The Celtic thing's there. It's still strong, and the heart is still beating.
Listen, it was great meeting you, and welcome to Radiodays.
Thank you very much.